Hey, what's going on, people? Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host Jan. Hope you're doing well, mate. I really do hope that. Welcome back to Chelsea News. That's right, friends. Every single day here on Football Therapy, we sit down together and we discuss what's being said around the headlines regarding Chelsea Football Club. Excuse me. Today there's a lot of stuff to get into. Jorginho potentially going to Juventus, certainly the links or the conversations coming up again. Conor Gallagher making his decision with Chelsea. Frank Lampard coming to Chelsea. Going to Everton, maybe taking Anthony Barry. Not Joe Edwards, and possibly the likes of Ruben Loftus-Cheek. What else is there? I also want to talk about... there is more stuff, or maybe that's it for the moment. We can talk about like Ousmane Dembele and other players if we like. If we have time, settle in, get comfortable. Please do consider dropping a like. Let's see if we can get over 2,000. That helps the channel out a lot, and you're able to do that by the click of a button. And of course, I'd welcome you all to subscribe to those of you who are yet to do so. Alright, let's get into it. And let's start off with, this is the other thing I wanted to talk about. Very briefly and very fleetingly, Alvaro Morata being linked with a Premier League return to Newcastle United, but absolutely everyone under the sun has been linked to Newcastle United. If you look at their shortlist recently of players, it's absolutely incredible. It's insane. They've literally tried to buy everyone, and they're getting largely mugged off by everyone in terms of quoted price. But he's also been linked to Tottenham Hotspur, of course, a return with Antonio Conte to be reunited with him. Alvaro Morata, if you remember, came to Chelsea as a Diego Costa replacement for Conte's second season in the 2017-18 season, where we of course won the FA Cup, but of course he was ultimately benched for Olivier Giroud in the end. Giroud was ultimately inevitable for Chelsea. He often benched Tammy as well, people forget. Maybe coming back to the Premier League for Tottenham. I'm reading here off the Chelsea website. The Spaniard scored 24 goals in 72 appearances. That is poor. Well, I mean, we've seen worse, but it's not good, isn't it? Do you remember when Morata first started for Chelsea? He came off the bench against Burnley. I think when we were like 9 men on the pitch, we lost 2 men, and he scored like a goal immediately off the bench and looked really good. And at that point I was like, wicked, we've bought the right one, you know, we've got Morata, United got Lukaku, we've got the better part of the deal. And turned out, like, you know, the Chelsea fans sung Morata a song, but it turned out he ended up being a bit of a wuss, rolled around on the floor a lot and kind of just felt sorry for himself a lot. I mean, best of luck to him and all that, but yeah. Anyway, let's move on. I just wanted to reference that because I thought it might be interesting. Conor Gallagher. So this is coming from Cy Phillips on Twitter, who of course does great writing, and he does a podcast and stuff. And he's quoting Jacob Steinberg of The Guardian here on this, and on a podcast he did with him. Quote, Conor Gallagher is going to come back. Tuchel really wants him to be part of the Chelsea first team next season. So let's talk about this. This is good because Conor Gallagher, this doesn't surprise me because he was recently quoted about how he's a Chelsea boy, he's a Chelsea fan. He did an interview with BT Sport pundit and Man United legend Rio Ferdinand, and they spoke about football, they spoke about him. And then afterwards, off air, I think Rio Ferdinand told Joe Cole this, off air, he said, make sure, like, you tell them, you say, I want to go back to Chelsea, that I'm not trying to get sold here. I'm not in the shop window. I want to go back to Chelsea. Great news. What Jacob Steinberg is saying here is pretty much confirming that, you know, yes, he's going back, and Tuchel wants him back as well. Tuchel has even been questioned about him in recent press conferences, and he's been like, yeah, he's wicked. Look at him. He's absolutely killing it. So on that, we can expect a return for young Conor Gallagher. Where will he fit in? You could maybe say, I honestly think personally, this would mean a formation change, and not from, you know, away from what we're playing at the moment, which is a 4-1-4-1 formation that's seemingly great. I think he'd fit really well in that, in one of the Mason Mount or Kovacic positions in the second bank of 4. But in our usual 3-4-3, maybe he could play in the midfield pivot, but against high level opposition. You know, he's not like a Jorginho style metronomic player. More on him in just a moment. So I think it would probably be largely down to a back 4 system. Tuchel trying to change it, get more goals out of his side, bringing Conor Gallagher in as a midfielder to, you know, a Premier League midfield team. Ultimately, is going to get more goals into your side. So that's hugely positive news, and I wanted to talk about that. So that's good. Let's move on to the next part of the video, gang, and let's talk about. We'll end up with talking about Everton. Frank Lampard looks like he's going to take the job. As at time of recording anyway, on Saturday the 29th, late morning. Jorginho. So Jorginho is being linked to Juventus again. Now, this is obviously... You know what? I'm not gonna read any references. There's loads of headlines. Let's just talk about this. So, this has obviously come up in like Chelsea fan culture again. You know, my opinion on Jorginho is I think he's the best player in the world at what he does. He's an incredibly good niche player. He's this metronomic, intelligent, fast-thinking midfielder who has had an incredible story arc at Chelsea. If you think about, you know, Sarri's son getting booed, and then having in the same season, Sarri's only season, just that 1 year, having the fans sing his name, Jorginho, at Stamford Bridge, an amazing triumph for the player. And I think he does love being at Chelsea, and he's thankful for, you know, winning the Europa League, winning the Champions League, becoming this player that also won, while at Chelsea, that also won the Euros. So this has been, you know, the most important time of his career at Chelsea. Now, I think what we've come to learn and understand, certainly if we are to believe his, you know, big talking agent who's always talking about Jorginho's desire to return to Italy, we can think there's probably some truth in that. He's 30 years old now, Jorginho, and in the summer, he'll be into his final 12 months of his contract. Now, if Chelsea are going to change the formation under Thomas Tuchel to A, get more goals out of the side, and B, help out certain personnel like Ziyech and stuff, maybe, and probably, different profile midfielders would be considered. Perhaps more conventional style CDMs in the 4-1. Jorginho did very well in that 4-1-4-1, but I don't think it maximises his skill set. It would maximise the skill set of a more conventional CDM, like maybe a little bit more stronger and faster CDM, a la Declan Rice, a la Aurélien Tchouameni, who Chelsea have been linked to both, or indeed another CDM in Europe. Possibly. Now, if Juventus... Obviously, it's important to note as well, because I can imagine people commenting on this. Jorginho will be is in his 30s now, but he plays with his mind, and he's never been fast, is he? And he's never been strong, so he and his mind's not going to slow down in his 30s. I think it's for the aforementioned reasons of changing formation and stuff. And also, I do think genuinely, I think he does love Chelsea, but I think he wants to return to Italy, sign a 5-year deal, which he'd probably get out there, you know, in a league where he did really well before as well. And he's a bit of an Italian hero now after the Euros, and just have that, you know, be thankful for his time at Chelsea and go and do his thing in Italy now. I think that would suit him, and I think it would probably suit all parties. If Juventus come in with a big bid. Now, let's be real, he's in his 30s and he'll have 12 months left on his deal. This is not a 28-year-old Eden Hazard with 12 months left on his deal who has been Chelsea's best player for 7 years. This is Jorginho. He's very good, but quite a niche player. So if Juventus come in with £30 million bid for a 30-year-old midfielder with 12 months left on his deal, Chelsea might be inclined to take it, put that towards a midfielder that's nearly 10 years younger than him, and you know, and it's a great investment ultimately. Still, I just wanted to talk about this. It's going around the media. This is like, you know, I think pretty much all Chelsea fans now appreciate Jorginho, and I think even if you love him, or even if you think, you know, he's been good but he's not my favourite, I think many people can agree and see sense in maybe selling him so he can probably get a move that he'd probably quite like. Again, I'm speculating here. I'm going off his agent and him saying how much he loves Italy all the time. So maybe that would suit all parties. Let me know what you guys think. Comment down below regarding Jorginho to Juventus. They are apparently reportedly also looking at De Jong as well, so of Barcelona, which is probably quite a similar player. They're both kind of like small, slight midfielders that are good at like quick passing and stuff. So that makes sense. So let's finish on what's seemingly some very exciting news if you're of the same inclination as me. I love Frank Lampard. I'm really intrigued to see how he develops his managerial career. It does look like he's the decision for Everton. It's yet to be announced at time of recording, but it does look like he's going to become the Everton manager. Now, I'm reading all sorts of things about this, about him taking players. There's big links of him, if he gets to Everton, taking Ruben Loftus-Cheek on loan. Now, you'd have to say, just check, I don't think I want to read anything else there. You'd have to say, this would probably make sense because he'll have 1 day left in the transfer window after appointed. And maybe, speculation, this is not news, I'm completely guessworking here. Maybe he's already spoken to Chelsea, like, hi Marina, how's it going? And she'd be like, Frank, we all still love you here, how's it going? Because I think there is a good relationship still. And it'd be like, yeah, I think I'm going to take this Everton job, provided I can make a couple of changes before, the window shuts. Any chance you can give me Ruben? Like, he'll get loads of he'll start all the time, and he might like it. Can you just get in his ear? Yeah, alright. If you can get the job, you can have Ruben. So if he does sign the deal, then maybe, bang, Ruben Loftus-Cheek. I'm not saying, this is all speculation and gossip. It might not be Ruben Loftus-Cheek, it might be another player. It might be no players. But Frank, if he thinks he can get this job, it would not surprise me in the slightest if he tries to take the decision to take advantage of what remains a good connection to Chelsea Football Club, with a large squad of good players that aren't all playing. Frank Lampard will probably look to Chelsea's academy. He'd look to Everton's academy, which I don't think is awful. And I think the Evertonian fans would be very, very happy with Lampard. Now, I reported, was it yesterday's video or the day before, about Joe Edwards, because I heard Matt Law speak about this, which I just basically regurgitated his reports. Since then, other reports have come out saying the coach that Frank Lampard actually wants is Anthony Barry. Now, I'd be very upset if Anthony Barry goes to Everton, because we've been infinitely better on set pieces since he joined the coaching staff. We've scored loads of set pieces goals. You got Rudiger, Thiago Silva scoring for fun on set pieces, and they've been really, really important for us. I would be frustrated if Anthony Barry goes to Everton. It might be an opportunity for him there. He might get a better wage packet because Everton are desperate need for him. He might have slightly more responsibilities. Ultimately, it comes down to Thomas Tuchel. Thomas Tuchel knows his staff. He'll know what's worked. Surely he'll see... the big change of Chelsea came with Anthony Barry when he joined Frank Lampard at the beginning of last season. So, it's really difficult. If Tuchel releases him as a gesture to Frank, then fair play. I'm all for it. It's up to Thomas Tuchel. Thomas Tuchel has to have the final word here on what happens, because obviously priority number one is Chelsea. Yes, I love watching Frank Lampard from afar, but when we play him, I hope we beat him comfortably. And nothing at the expense of Chelsea, of course. But it's exciting to see him play there. He's not managing Spurs. He's not managing, Liverpool or United or any of the rivals or Arsenal. He's managing Everton. Everton are a big, big club. Again, at time of recording, it hasn't been announced, but it looks like it's going to be announced. And it's very exciting. I'm also terrified for Frank because they could get relegated. And they needed to sort the defence out, and Frank's not renowned for sorting a defence out. That's probably why he's gagging for Anthony Barry. So if he gets Everton relegated, that is a horrible, mark on your career. So he's taking a risk. But I think he's taking a risk because it's such a big club and great opportunity. If he keeps them up, they might give him a long-term project where he says, right, I want to bring in this staff. Right, I want to look at this. Right, I want to play this football. I want to bring in these build this system around me. And if they let him do that, there's a rich owner behind there. If they can navigate their financial fair play problems, they'll be in business. Cool. So, that's today's video. I wanted to talk about that kind of stuff. Jorginho potentially making a return to Italy for Juventus. Frank Lampard bringing coaches and players to Everton, and all the other things in between. So thank you for joining me. I do videos every day here on Football Therapy, so if you're yet to subscribe, make sure you do so and hit the bell notifications icon. And I appreciate everyone who likes the video, comments and shares. It's a great way of showing support to the channel, so I appreciate all of you. So enjoy the football, and I'll see you later.
So tough with that bad boy tuck. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought. Body bag the verse, outlined in chalk. In my life seen trouble, hustle on the double. Silence on the trigger like my pick got a muzzle. Yo chick like to guzzle, bad boy stay in trouble. I only love this paper, sorry I don't. I laugh me baby.